Hello, Littlefish. Welcome to another community gathering. The agenda is in the chat. I'm going to go over it very briefly. First, we're going to talk about all the things that are going on at Littlefish. We're kicking up the gear. Lots of things going on. I'm going to go briefly over a lot of these things first, and then we're going to jump into a few action showcases, talk about some of these actions that have been going on, some of the things that we'll be doing in the next few weeks. And then at the end, we're going to do a little proposal spotlight and talk about, discuss what direction we can take on these and get the community involved. So the agenda is in the chat. So with Fund 9 results right around the corner, we're kicking up speed. We just started organizational labs alignment meetings, which are on Fridays at 18 UTC. We had a very nice discussion with Newman, Harsha, and Nori, and we will be meeting every week. Hopefully, they'll be very helpful to helping us organizing this decentralized setting. And we've been doing Tech Help collective alignment meetings every Thursday at 17 UTC. Those will be going on. So if you're interested, hop on those calls. And next week at this time, we're going to start Dream Engine workshops. And those will be held bi-weekly. So 1 week we will have these community gatherings, and the next week we're going to have the Dream Engine workshops. And we're going to start off with the AI art prompt engineering workshop that we talked about on the last community gathering. Another thing that's been going on is we're shaping action. One of our proposals has been to shape what an action is. That is entirely about the metadata development of what an action is, defining that. So if you're a developer interested in that side of the business, you can get involved in Discord. The discussion is going on in the app development channel and also in the forum. One more thing that's been going on is the token engineering learners. That's been starting that off slowly. So token engineering fundamentals is a course that the token engineering community is doing. They're going to release the full course next month, and we're going to do a study session and async study sessions here at Littlefish, and that's been going on. If you're interested in that, again, it's all in Discord. And what we're doing is Ikigai workshops. We've been doing C4C Ikigai workshops every Wednesday at 13 UTC, if I recall correctly. And that's nearing the end. So maybe 1 or 2 more workshops, and I'm thinking we'll be done with those for now. So if you're interested, join us on the C4C weekly calls at 15 UTC. Correction. And finally, the last one is Konma. We're going to be working with Konma. But those ones we haven't got it all set up. But if you're interested, you can show that interest in Discord or anywhere else and get involved. And we're going to get those started as well. And that's a lot of news, lots of things going on, and probably I missed a ton of other things. So if anybody wants to share anything, this next section would be the place to do it. But we can start off with the UI UX research that the designers have been doing. I'd like to pass it on to you guys.
Great, thank you, Chaka. We made some major changes on Discord channel. So if you face any problems there, please let me know. And we have now levels, and in the channel, just a second. Start here. We have some Metafish trial, and if you click on "I'm a Littlefish," please show me what you have. You will see all the Discord channels in Littlefish. I'm a developer, concentrates on developing parts of the Littlefish Foundation Discord channel, and I'm a dreamer, just only drops to the Dream Engine. So if you need any other categories to be displayed and any other roles, please let me know here, and I can add them here.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's in the Start Here channel.
Ah.
It's just a little test, so you
Oh,
can.
I see it.
Yeah. If you don't want to see there are lots of channels. You know, if you don't want to see them, you can select the desired positions and outcomes here.
Okay, cool. I gotcha.
It's a trial, and we will experiment on this one, and we will have the final stage.
So yeah, if I click on I'm a little fish, I am
Yeah.
removed from those channels, not added.
Yeah, it's toggling.
Ah,
You are
okay.
already a little fish. You should
Yeah.
click again.
Okay, yeah, because I see I was removed from that.
And it's still an experiment phase, and we will have some more design on that one.
Cool.
So soon we'll have all the many roles added there.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to select exactly what you're interested in within Littlefish and getting all those notifications, because I think we've been pumping out a lot of notifications with spamming Littlefish. Hopefully we're going to fix that in the short term. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. This will be great for the onboarding now.
Oh yeah.
I really love it.
Thank you, Aaron.
What did you use to set that up?
Sorry, Sebastian.
What bot did you use to set that up?
It's MEE6, but we plan to have our own bot here.
Are you guys gonna integrate Hazelnut?
We will have it. Did you try Hazelnut?
I've been trying for the Murgo channel, but I cannot get it to work. So yeah, that was why I was asking.
Yeah, we will try it, and it's also open source, and I think we can get some idea from that one too. We are experimenting with that one in another Discord channel, but not implemented here yet.
It'll be nice to connect to Discord using a wallet.
Yeah, it will be. So our aim is to have all the things here in Discord, as whatever you can do in the UI, you will be able to do it in Discord. So in that way, we can spread it to other channels like C4C and other channels, and we hope it will be used by the channels.
All right. I think we can just jump into the design research.
Justin and Joss will be presenting the research.
Dawson.
Yeah, do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay. Let me do that. In the meantime, we encourage everyone to go through the agenda list. There should be a direct link to our Figma page under
I'll
UX
add that
UI
to the chat.
research. Cool. Cool. All right, I should be sharing right about now. Awesome. And so we want the community to look over research and also add any comments that they have like throughout this presentation. So first things first, in the beginning part of the phase, the research team and the whole research team and I went through the materials in the vault to understand the end use objectives. Really figuring out the problem and finding a solution. So the first thing is the problem of Littlefish we're trying to solve for, which is flexibility of life, remote work, how do we organize ourselves using actions and make everything we do sustainable? And the solution that we're trying to solve for is a platform where groups with common purpose are empowered to run their own autonomous organizations and create relevant actions. And in order to figure out the solution, we use the Ikigai template from the Miro board to create an Ikigai for our user persona. And this is the grand plan that we have. So we obtained this information from the vault itself. And these are the pain points, the frustrations from the Littlefish community, which is coordination is difficult, there's information overload, no visibility to action. So as UX searchers, we want to simplify that user experience. Like, how can we let users, or how can we help users track actions of individuals and colonies? Like, how can we notify users of actions individuals have taken? How can we help users coordinate and work together? And then I think in terms of UX UI, like, how can we showcase a well-designed UX UI to make the user experience better? And so this is the grand plan, creating individual actions, which is our MVP. This is showing like what we're doing and, you know, the next steps in our research. And after that, we created a Littlefish Ikigai board for our persona called Joe Littlefish. And interestingly, the answers that we got from for Joe Littlefish, we used the responses from the community Ikigai boards. And these are all the responses that we got from the users from the community. So feel free to check that out in detail. And by creating an Ikigai, we were able to create a framework for our user persona based on the research done in investigating the user profile. And we had to consider like personality, education, status, career. And, you know, the reason why we created personas to help us understand, like, you know, our target audience. So Joe Littlefish represents all of us in the community. And this was to understand that target audience on an individual level. And this would help us generate user journeys. And, you know, I am going to popcorn to Justin. So I'm gonna click on his profile, or yeah.
Jumpfish, not popcorn.
Sorry, Jumpfish.
So
My bad.
let's make that a thing. Josh says, jump the fish to me. So yeah, what we're working on right now is user journeys, kind of understanding how Joe Littlefish or every one of us would go through this process of getting on the site of Littlefish. First of all, understanding what Littlefish does. Second, creating an action and participating in the system. So our first user journey is Joe Littlefish's first time on the site. I won't outline all of the things here, just give you some of the, I guess, most important parts, or like have you try to understand how our process and all this. So the first thing we do is outline a problem or a goal that Joe has when he visits the site. So the first problem is he finds the app by accident, so he doesn't know what it's all about. So maybe here he sees the awesome treasury and action payment stats. So our opportunities here for like the landing page or the first touch Littlefish would have with Joe Littlefish would be have the homepage have our elevator pitch. Littlefish is empowering individuals passionate about specific goals to take collective actions. It'll also have treasury stats and payment and action payment stats, which would help Joe, well, persuade Joe to participate in the system, participate in the system by creating actions or maybe even rewarding actions. See if people are being rewarded, Joe will want to be part of the system and also be rewarded. That's our thinking. Yeah, so that is his first time on Littlefish. He'll continue through this journey. So our second journey was Joe Littlefish creating an action. This is kind of where we would like some of your input, community input. Okay, so questions we had during this phase is, what is an action? And what constitutes a proof of action? And that's an open question, actually. So anybody have an answer to that?
Hmm. Well,
Open question. If there are no
Okay.
if there are no answers, that's fine. But if you find any answers, you can comment them on the Figma file itself. So
So you can find many examples of proof of actions available all over Discord. So just hop on over to Discord action channel and you will see at least the beginnings of what an action could be just there.
Hmm.
Just photos of actions, you know, like a
right.
presentation somebody did. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, and the question for you is the UI UX is a journey. I mean, should you limit the actions, the area of action you want to start with, or you want to keep it an open? Because in the treasury part, it was very specific and very clear, right? What you should come and do, but you need to prove it also in a set of actions, or to keep it open for any action that people can upload.
yeah, so this is exactly why we're reaching out to the community. Like, do we keep it specific? Do we want it to be broad?
No, but even if the action is broad, we still need a proof of action. Otherwise, like anyone can come and put anything and try to get rewards. Like it's easy for bad players to enter if
Right.
there's no proof of action. Yeah.
So the system we're building right now will keep everybody out except those who are Littlefish contributors, and we will do that by using membership badges, and Donald will be talking about them in a second. So at this stage, we don't really need to worry about others just coming on and creating actions to try to earn rewards. We will
Got
at some stage worry about that.
Cool. Another question we had was, will the users be minting their own NFTs for the action?
Like outside of the app.
No, inside the app. So would they be minting? I'm guessing inside the app.
Yeah, they
But
will be
would they?
minting.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, we're still continuing with these user journeys. Per like the team's conversation with Jem, we wanted to be more social. Maybe social is the wrong word, but we wanted our users to connect to each other. So after Joe Littlefish would create the action, mint the action, maybe he'd be shown similar actions people have taken, or similar colonies, or colonies that have taken similar actions, and then connect from there. And that's what we'll be focusing on next, his journey to connecting to colonies, his journey to connecting to other users.
But this
And
journey
yeah.
was the journey this journey was the journey to action. So it's like coming
Yes.
on, not knowing, and then it's like how to get them to make the action. And you went through like creating a wallet and all of that. That's in there, or that type of stuff.
That is not, but that
Oh.
can, that like, I guess that's an oversight on our part. We had, I guess I imagined Joe Littlefish had a wallet already, and it would just have to
Yeah,
connect his wallet.
so based on the persona that we had, the persona is kind of based on all of us, right? And I'm assuming all of us have a wallet, so we went off of the fact that most of us would probably have a wallet. When we open the persona up a little bit more, then I think the person we would be designing for would change.
I think creating a wallet can be part of the flow because I'm not like the rest. I'm pretty new in the space. So creating a wallet was my introduction to the Littlefish ecosystem. So I can see it being part of the user journey.
Yeah, there was that video of you guys going through that and working with the with the Tech Help Collective stuff and building out those processes. So it is in the ecosystem. That's the only reason I mentioned it, is like we have a flow for that, or at least material and resource. Yeah. So it's like when someone's new coming in, then they've got a spot, like it's a welcoming spot, and getting to that point of like knowing what the other fish are doing, what the social connections, which I think is really going to be meaningful in the more sort of philosophical ways, because then you'll kind of know the community, and they kind of move together in that sort of metaphor of a school of fish.
Yeah, makes sense. That's exactly what we were thinking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, research is continuing. This is all we've got for now. So I'll hand it back over to Jumpfish. I mean, not Chaka.
So Chakan and Jem are two different people, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Can you zoom out, by the way, and show us the big picture? Because you guys got a lot of things going there. And I just want to appreciate all the work you guys are doing. Like even
Yeah,
it
looks really great. Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
There's some great work in there. Like I just went through some of this stuff, and it made me understand the system we're building better. I don't know. So that was great. Thank you guys. And if you want to drop feedback, do we drop it right on this board on Figma?
Yeah. So there is like a little comment button on top, right top. You just click on it and comment wherever you want.
Can you show us
I think
how we do it?
I think the icon is the bubble icon, and you just add comment or click on the shortcut on your keyboard, C, and then just tap away.
Awesome.
This is my comment. And then I think, yeah. And then we could all see it.
I think it's not working for me.
Oh,
is there
not?
any restriction on that one?
No.
I
Is
can
it
see
not working
comments,
for?
but I can edit some comments.
I was able to do it.
Okay, but it's maybe because of the application. I'm using the application of Figma. Maybe.
Right. You may need to sign in, maybe, but you are.
I'm already signed in. Just okay. Maybe there is a problem with the application.
Yeah.
Probably because Adobe just acquired Figma, so it's kind of buggy.
Yeah, things may start to break now, right?
I know.
I think we can jump on to the next action. Nori, can you take it away?
Sure. So the next one is about self-management. So I was hopping around the Work server the other day and saw this one that said write self-management primer. This will be used in onboarding to teach new contributors the principles of self-management. And it should touch on the topics of showing initiative, working towards the goals of the whole, producing action, and should use existing resources on self-management, keep it as simple as possible while allowing curious individuals to go in deeper, and lots of links to the Inspiral Handbook as well as Reinventing Organizations, which is a great book. So I jumped in and said I would be happy to start that. So I kicked off this Miro board. Let me go to chat. I also put it into the agenda link, but you can get to it directly there. And just started putting together some notes. And there's a link here to a HackMD document where I just started putting an outline of stuff together here, but really we're just working on the Miro board right now, putting in some notes around self-management and really looking at reinventing organizations as one of the key source materials. So it provides a lot of stuff. Most of this is taken from that book. And they broke it down into decision-making, organizational structure, compensation, and incentives and performance management. We're going to focus a lot on actions and how it relates to Littlefish, and stuff around decision-making around the advice process. I think it's a critical process and it's a critical innovation of teal organizations. So we should probably cover what the advice process is, how it works, and bake that in as a core tenet of what we do. And then some of these other things. So if you're wanting to help, if you're curious or know lots about self-management, jump in. This is really a kind of a teal primer too. So there's also the concepts of wholeness and evolutionary purpose, but that's outside the scope of this primer. We're going to focus on self-management. So that's kind of where we're at. Things are kind of moving. I think Newman has jumped in and done a bunch of stuff. I've linked a video here if you're curious that talks a little bit about self-management and things, so you can watch that. And this is really just a place, if you have materials or resources you want to share, please feel free to drop them in here. If you want to participate in creating a document, jump in here as well. We have a HackMD shared markdown document going, so we're going to start to flesh this out, but that's kind of the goal. So that's what's going on right now. And I think this is kind of an offshoot now of the Org Labs crew. So we'll be revisiting this face-to-face at least once a week.
Yes, awesome.
Any questions?
I'm doing the party emoji. That's really great. That's really great. And I like that you know, just picking up off of the D work. I think that's great. Like showing that part of it. It's just like, okay, hey, look, here's the D work. So that sort of shows the flow of finding these initiatives that the colony and the whole of us is helping to sort of initiate. Just saying, hey, here are some seeds, and then you picked up the seed and nurtured it along, and now it's a little sprout. And I'm really looking forward to you know, tending to it and growing it, because I think that's a valuable resource. It's a resource that I'd like to have.
Mm-hmm.
And Nori, could you also expand upon the advice process? And
Yeah.
we want to build this process within Littlefish as well, but maybe this can be the start of like making it clear for everyone, and then we'll put it into some docs and make it known.
Yeah. So one of the principal tenets of teal, I guess, is pushing decisions out as far as you can to the edges, to the people that are actually doing the work. And rather than having it be this kind of chaotic, everyone's doing what they think is best, that's not really what this is about. And that's where the advice process comes in. When you make a decision, the advice process kind of is a tenet where you talk to all the stakeholders who could be impacted by the thing that you're working on or the change you're proposing, or they could be stakeholders that will benefit from it, or an expert in the situation, so they can provide some expert views. So through the advice process you go through and you talk to all the people that you should, and say, this is what we're thinking, this is what we want to do. Do you have any feedback? Do you want to be part of the core team? Do you want to get people engaged and get their advice? The purpose isn't to make something that incorporates everybody's feedback and kind of waters it down or limits it in some way. It's really just to listen. And if someone's feedback or advice isn't quite going to fit, you don't have to follow it. But the important thing is that you've talked to them and you've given them the opportunity to provide their input and given them the opportunity to participate. And then that's kind of, at a nutshell, it removes the need for hierarchy. You don't have to check with your manager and make sure that it's okay, or this committee signs off on what you're going to do. As long as you've proven that you've talked to all the people that would really care about this thing, then go for it. Create your action, do the thing. And that's really kind of just that push and pull thing. Rather than just going off and doing whatever you want, you've at least checked with the key people and gotten their advice. And that's kind of how Teal kind of makes sure that things can stay aligned with the evolutionary purpose of the organization, because you're checking in with key parts of the group to make sure that what you're doing is aligned. And I think that ties in with the, not the wholeness, but the evolutionary purpose is another pillar of Teal. And that's one way to tap into that and sense what it is by talking to people in the organization.
And slowly the organization just grows into something awesome, but we still keep aligned. I guess just that advice process just helps us get there.
And in that sort of vein, it's a scalable thing, whereas like hierarchies and committees don't really scale, but an advice process seems like it would scale better. Is that sort of? And then have you, Nori, specifically, did you or anyone really have experience with this process? Like the advice, like direct experience, or I guess it's in the Reinventing Org's book. I imagine they've got some case, where it worked out.
Yeah, through all of their examples, I think the advice process was one of those key things that each one of these different Teal groups and companies used as a core mechanism of what they do. And one way to visualize it is kind of like, those big, huge flocks of birds that when there's a predator that comes through, they just kind of go around it or swerve, and millions of birds are coordinating. Each one can only actually talk to and see a handful of its neighbor birds. But through that action, this entire evolutionary pattern of flight emerges from that. And that one bird deciding to go left didn't talk to every other bird. He just talked to the birds that are around him to make sure he isn't going to run into them. And then everybody kind of adjusts and does this thing.
That is definitely, I mean, that could, yeah, that's exactly what it seems like. That's exactly what is going on in those murmurations, and it is an evolutionary pattern, because you see it in birds and in fish and in all sorts of other biological system. So. Yeah,
fish would probably be a better metaphor for this group.
Or jump fish jump to the next. We're gonna make it a thing. It's a thing now.
And also, it's not just advice to get information back so that you can refine and make sure you're doing the right thing. By talking about what you're doing, you're letting other parts of the organization know what's happening so they can react and do stuff as well. So it's a good communication mechanism, because they'll say, oh yeah, Nori and Newman are working on this doc over here, and that kind of relates to what we're doing over here. So maybe we should collaborate or talk a little more. And I think it's just a healthy way to disseminate information just by seeking advice all the time on what you should be doing.
This also cuts down feedback cycles to very short. Feedback is very important for evolutionary organizations. In classical organizations, what happens usually is a group is working on a project for a very long time. they feel very insecure about it, and then they only show it at the end until it's perfect. But then it's too late. It's just it's a terrible. That feedback would have been very useful at the beginning, but now that work is just useless. So that often happens in classical organization. This just prevents it from the outset.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Nori, for this work. And if you guys are interested in any of this, Organizational Labs meetings on Fridays, 18 UTC every week. All right. And now we can jump on to our app update. Donald, tell us what's going on at the app.
Yeah, hello guys, how are you? Hope you're fine. 2 weeks ago, I guess, we made the last update. It was a little bit sluggish. This time we come a little more stronger. Like my friend couldn't be here, but he sends his highs as well. Like if you allow me, I'm going to make you like a short demo in here. Now I've changed the looks of the app like totally almost, thanks to Jem's feedback. He gave me some images and suggested some color, and I implemented that. And this is how the main page, the action page, the gallery looks like. There is almost the same. Only the colors have changed by now. We have added this search button where people can search the actions by name or by asset name, the action name, or by the owner. For example, if you search Donald, then you get all the Donald's actions. Or if you search, for example, testing, and you get the testing new gallery. It's completely, how can I say it? It is completely on time. Like you don't need to press any button about that. After that, another detail that we added was the gallery, which is multiple images showing in the app's action detail page, like in here, for example. Like right now, we had this one working until 1 week ago, like totally working 100%. But after that, we were having some what is it called? Performance issues. Like it was taking too long to load. So because we were rendering that in base64 format, and we gave up that kind of solution, and we got back on the IPFS. But since IPFS is a little bit sluggish itself, even though the images are here, I don't know, there has been a problem maybe in the IPFS, and it can't render them like totally. But they are here, the links are here, and I couldn't solve the problem. I tried until the last moment, but it wasn't possible for the moment. Then we added these two buttons, which are reward action and get actions. And the system works a little differently. We call it like a semi-bit. For example, this action, the owner of this action has asked like 12 ADA for this. So if you go in here, a new field opens, and you need to put a price equal to that the owner asks, or higher, like for example. So let me put 15 ADA. Then you create sale. You send a request to the Tango Crypto. They post your sale, and then you get the payment link. So I give here a notification that says click on the get button to get the payment link. And after clicking in the payment button, you go to the Tango Crypto page where you can buy the action. This was also an update. Then there is something in here. It's not related to us actually. Tango Crypto reserves the sale for, I guess, 15 minutes to 20 minutes or something. So if somebody already made a bid, somebody else cannot make a new bid until 15 minutes pass because Tango Crypto doesn't allow it. But we are working on that. We are trying to come with some workaround, so people, even if it doesn't happen, for example, in a much shorter time, like 2 or 3 minutes, it's possible to create a new sale for the action. After that, we got this colonies page. This used to be here, but we changed some of the insights. So yeah, in here we added one members section where people, Littlefish members, by first creating, filling up this form with the necessary information, they become a Littlefish member and come up, and their photograph or their card, user card, is going to be rendered in here. And if you enter in there, also leads to another user profile page like Instagram, where shows all the work that has been done by this this action producer, for example. For the moment, we have only the created actions by that person. Then we are going to have the collected rewards and transactions as well. Those are incoming. It's been a tough week, so yeah. And finally, one final thing. Let me demonstrate you like how do we create a member, for example, like real simple. Now, if we go in here, I connected my wallet, so I get the wallet ID. And at the same time, we have this token authentication that Chakan mentioned in the beginning of the meeting. It is like, right now it is in the test phase, so we allow everybody who tries to do that, we give everybody a token, but later we are going to check your wallet ID and your badge number against our database. We are going to write it in our database, and if you figure out that you are a member of Littlefish, then we give you permission to create an action or become a member of one of the colonies. So let me try and here upload an image, then enter an email, let's say Littlefish DAO. Then we select the colony, then this is try to submit it. Yeah, the application was successful. So if we go to the colonies one more time.
Will it work?
We go here.
Of course.
And it works. Like, since Littlefish DAO doesn't have any actions yet, it's empty, but yeah, that's it. Then we have the creation page, which is more or less the same. The only change is that we put in here, we have the action types, which are selectable, and you can add other ones. It's not 100% like optimized. We are working on it. But also we have an algorithm in the backend that is going to choose all the time the 10 most popular types. So all those are going to be rendered in here in order to choose. So yeah, that was it for me.
And I'd like
If
to
you have
just
any
drop in
questions.
there with the action type. We're gonna be very experimental with it and just let everyone create different action types. And these are working as similar to tags at this moment. And we're gonna try to create a taxonomy of what actions means through this. So it's gonna be very experimental, and we're gonna try and see how to categorize all these actions. Do we want a category for software development? Do we want
By the way,
for Pluto's development? And so on.
some of our members, I'm sorry, Chagan, some of our members get confused like how to use actually this creation page. If you allow me, like, in a short 1 minute, I'm going to like just demonstrate it. And so if you have any questions after that, I'm going to be able to answer them as well. Like, let me, at first we need a cover image. This is going to be the main image of your action. Then we need the action producer. Let's say again, Littlefish DAO. So at the same time, we have the, the new profile that we created has already one. And then we enter the action name, which is testing. I'm sorry for my very rapid. Then this is a test action. And after that, we need a name in here. This is the name that's going to be, like, your action is going to be identified by this name in the blockchain. And generally, it's the same with the action name. So I'm going to keep writing testing. Then I'm going to say it is a software development and maybe planning and organizing kind of event. Then when you are in here, upload additional images. We are working on an upgrade on this one. But for now, you just go click on the button, go and pick your images just by pressing Command in Mac, or I guess it's Shift or Control in Windows. So you keep uploading images. I'm going to upload like 3 additional images in this part, and then to select my colony, put a price in there, and submit, waiting for the response from the blockchain.
And that's the minimum price that you're setting to be sold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm keeping buying them myself. I run out of money, like test ADA, so
Oh, you ran out?
I'm coming.
You were rich.
Yeah, but that's so much testing, and after that, it may take some time. So it depends, like how much traffic is there in the blockchain at the moment. Hope it doesn't embarrass me.
Oh, this app breaks and works like from day to day.
Yeah. So yeah, we have it. Then let me go on at the colonies. Go to the new profile we created, Littlefish DAO. Hope I wrote the name the same. No, I didn't write the name the same. Oh, okay, that's no problem.
No, yeah, you did.
I took,
yeah, there it is.
I took care of it. Now I remembered. Like I made all little like lowercase. So yeah, it is working. It needs some time for the image to come due to IPFS. However, yeah, that's it.
Nice, thank you, Donald.
A quick question, Donald. Is there like a limit to the size of the images we can upload? Not for the NFT, but for like metadata?
Right now, there is no limit as long as none of them is more than 50 megabytes. However, there is we need to come up with a better solution, like pick up a server, or I don't know, maybe Amazon Web Services or something else. And since they cost a lot of money, we are thinking on how we can do it to perform better and also get like the best possible deal. And
sorry, are you hosting the metadata outside of the chain?
No, we are not hosting them outside of the chain. We put them on the chain, but in order to render them in our application, we keep a part of them in the database in some kind of format, so we don't have those performance issues. Otherwise, like if you saw right now, like everything in the app is already in IPFS, which means it's in the blockchain, the metadata. However, getting them from there, it's a whole different issue.
Yeah, sorry, you're hosting the metadata on IPFS.
Yeah.
Why not directly on Cardano?
I think it's on Cardano. I think it's on Cardano. Just he's talking about the images that are on IPFS, images and right.
Yeah. It is like this. Like Cardano actually holds the information. However, for the images not to be changeable, you need to convert them to something unchangeable, which is IPFS. So there's where we get them from. Cardano stores them, but it is IPFS that provides the link in order to render the image.
Yeah, so just loading the images from IPFS takes a lot of time. So we also store them in the backend in the database for now.
Yeah, actually, like we've done a lot of research on that, and that's how almost every major NFT marketplace does that, because it's important for app performance. Otherwise, you get something really sluggish, really slow, and user experience is also affected.
Lucas?
Hey, so we're talking about a tool for us to create actions, and Littlefish can go and perform those actions, etc. I'm sorry, I was a bit away from the keyboard for a sec, but do you have a field where people can put in, maybe not attachment like PDFs or something, but at least a rich text field where people can drop some links and make that clickable on the UI? It's just something that came to mind.
We have that. Sorry. We have that. You put links in here, additional links, like name of your link, like whatever you want, and paste the URL. You can add as many as you want in here, and we get them, and we are going to paste them in the action detail page. Like it's going to be a separate section. The reason we haven't done it right now, as I said, we are having like very much problems with the performance trying to come around, like experimenting on that actually.
Sure.
And but like in a very short time is going to be like what you suggested. And I'm sorry, also in here we say additional images. However, you can upload PDFs, whatever kind of format that you want. The only problem is that it's not going to be rendered in the gallery, in the carousel, we call it, page. We are going to implement a downloadable option. So if you want, you can download the PDF and read it.
Looks great, mate. Congrats.
Thanks.
So that's awesome, Donald. So hopefully in
Thank
the
you.
next month we'll have an MVP. Like I'm gonna say that until we have the MVP. So we have the designs coming up. If we can get the designs and the membership, and we're working on the action metadata spec, if we can all align all those three at the same time, that'll be the perfect scenario. I think that's the real MVP that we start using, because otherwise it's going to be kind of a nightmare to go back and change those things after we start really using it. But hopefully in the next month, let's say. I'm just going to keep saying that every week. Yeah, that's how I used to do it back when I was developing. I was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I'll do it in 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks I have it watch ready. Right.
It feels like there's progress going on, and I'm looking forward. I think that you guys just did some testing stuff for us in there, but I think we should be able to go in and do the tests. Is it difficult to get your wallet and then do just the testnet stuff? It's
not. That's nothing. You can go on right now. Actually, it's online. I deployed it before the meeting.
Can you show us how to put your Nami wallet on testnet, Donald? And then probably that will get anyone who hasn't developed up to speed.
Like, let me disconnect my wallet. Then in Nami wallet, like in here, in the settings part, is this network part. So if you get the Nami wallet from like directly from, I guess it's Berry Pool or something like that, you are going to have only testnet and mainnet. But if you get it from GitHub and you paste it in like Chrome as an extension, it's really simple. Actually, I can explain that as well if you are interested. You choose the testnet. And basically that's it. Then you connect, like you try to connect your wallet. It's gonna say fail, refresh the page, then try one more time, and then you connect the wallet. So, and you are up and running. You redirect to the generation page. If you see your wallet address in here, then you are good to go. However, if you have when you press submit, and if you get some kind of error that says your token is invalid, just contact us and we are going to take care of it.
Okay.
And one last question. Do all Littlefish NFTs have the same policy ID, or does each NFT have a different?
Any NFT, like policy ID is like the identifier of the NFT, so it has to be like different. Each one is different. Like that's the whole deal. Because if we,
I think Harsha means the minting policy.
Yeah.
What do you mean by minting policy?
Well, the minting policy is what you use to mint NFTs, right? So you can have a collection that all of them have the same minting policy.
Yeah, I don't think Cardano allows that kind of thing. You only get one policy ID. You get the collection ID, but that's a personal collection. Like if you want to put more than one NFT or action that we call inside the same collection. But right now we've made it possible so you every time you generate a new NFT, you generate a new collection as well. But there is no relation between members of the same colony, which is Littlefish at the time. Like no correlation whatsoever. if I understood the question right.
So
Sebastian,
go ahead.
can you enlighten us on policy IDs and how they work? Because we've been using Tango Crypto, and we will be writing our own minting policy. But for now, I think we're just using Tango Crypto, and we have several policy IDs for, and I'm not quite sure how many. But in the future, we will have our own minting policy, and with that, hopefully, we will have.
If you like, when
single
you what you mean by minting policy or policy ID? Is that maybe the badge? Are you meaning the badge like the Littlefish badge kind of thing? For example, let me explain the badge really simple, how it's actually going to work. We are going to, or you yourself are going to mint some NFTs in the like one NFT, which is going to be unique from the others, let's say, because it's going to be an identifier. You are going to mint the NFT from the page. Then you are going to pass the information to us, like meaning when I say information, I mean maybe just the policy ID, your wallet ID, where the action is actually present. And maybe asset ID, but it's not that important actually. And after that, we are going to store them that this policy ID and this wallet ID belongs to this member of Littlefish. Later at the time, when you come to connect to the app, and when you press connect, at the same time, we check your wallet. Like actually right now it is happening. If I show the developer tools, it shows what kind of actions or NFTs I already have in the, look at, for example, in this part, I have 3 assets in this wallet with the following policy IDs. Like, and also it is the name of the policy ID. Checking it from the NAMI website. Yeah, I have the genesis, the action page, and the front end.
We will be generating more and more actions. We don't have a predefined number of actions. So in the future, we will just be generating more and more and more. So how would the policy ID work in that setting, Sebastian?
I know, I mean, the policy ID is always going to be different. I'm guessing that, I mean, I'm not familiar with the system, right? This is the first time I joined in like a month. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I do believe like the policy ID is always going to be different, right? That is the important thing when it comes to NFT. And because you're using a third-party services, they're always using the same minting policy, right? Mm-hmm. So all of the NFTs generated under the umbrella of Littlefish are going to appear like they are from the same collection, let's say. In the future, for example, maybe a colony wants to make a limited minting for an event or for a particular project. For that, they will need to have a separate minting policy. So only the NFTs under that collection are going to look like they're part of that and not have continuous NFTs under the same minting policy. But that has to be programmed. It cannot be done with third-party services.
Very nice. Thank you. I think we need to explore this quite further with you, hopefully. If you can help us out with the NFT part, we're working on the setting the metadata, and we're working on the minting contract. So any direction, your expertise on this topic would be very helpful for us.
Sebastian, this is very good. We can use it in call to actions. For each call to action, we can have a minting policy ID in that case.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. We had one more section in the gathering agenda to get to, but we were already over time. So if anybody needs to hop off, that's totally fine. But I'm just gonna jump onto the next section and then maybe do a little short discussion on our next steps according to in all of these proposals. So three proposals are based very much on research, internal and external. And these are ocean technologies, which means first this terminology. Ocean is pretty much the realm of all blockchains. Ocean technologies means we go and research DAO tools in the ocean, in Ethereum, in Avalanche, in Solana, in all these different chains that are out there, that DAO tools have already taken ahead and already being developed on these chains. So what we want to do is kind of go and do a surface level scan of all these things and see what's out there, so that we know what is possible here on Cardano. So that's one of the proposals, and also a part of that proposal is cross-chain on ADA. What cross-chain platforms are available? What their status is. The second proposal is tools of decentralized work, which is the one that we're working on to make decentralized work more simple, more approachable, more usable. So that means we kind of take a look at digital work tools like scheduling tools like Lettuce Meet that we just found out about in a few weeks back, and it has just been wonderful. What we want to do is create this document that encompasses all tools of decentralized work that we have found useful, and then make it available to everyone in Catalyst and everybody else in this blockchain ecosystem, because it took me 8 months to find Lettuce Meet. Like if I had found it in the first week, that would have changed my life. And I think that's the case for pretty much everyone else. So we want to solve those very practical, very simple problems with this proposal, but also we want to take a look at DAO tools that are available, that are being developed on Cardano right now, so that we can know, all right, this is coming up, this technology is coming up, we can integrate this. This technology is coming up so that we can, maybe some other people can use it, make that knowledge available to everyone else, because there's a lot going on and information is just everywhere and nobody knows all of it. So we've got to pool all of that info together and make something beautiful on the world that is helpful to everyone else. And finally, ocean organizations, which looks into just the organizational stuff. How do these organizations run? What are the business processes? Things like onboarding, structure, and things like governance. Like what is governance? How does that work? So we want to take a look into all of these things, and we want to get this type of research and this type of understanding going. And I'd like to just open it up to the community. I think many of you are just everywhere in the ocean, taking a look at Ethereum, taking a look somewhere else. Maybe you know a DAO tool that you really love, that you found really useful. So any ideas such as that are very welcome here. And just even sharing links is very useful here. So just like to open it up to you guys, see if you have any ideas, any thoughts, any direction we can take on this work.
So I'm not shy. I always jump in. Just about sort of sharing links, because just like what you said about taking time to find a tool like Lettuce Meet, which really can make a big impact in an organization. I really think some way to curate and work with those links such that it's not a burden, because I'm sort of like, when I find something, I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want to share it, because I just feel like I'm just throwing it onto the pile of a giant, but it'd be really good, to sort of somehow curate it, because it's a valuable research. All of us have little, eyes and feelers out there. And when we come across things, it's really valuable to share it with the rest of the, our sort of house within the colony, our colony, the whole Littlefish, the whole of Catalyst, the whole of Cardano. It really can expand. Which is what I see that ocean tech, is about. And then creating the original documents, creating the curated lists. I just see good things, especially in light of this whole new system. My head is still a little bit blown apart by the thing. I'm really happy that I was able to get my Nami wallet connected. It was pretty easy.
I also think that at this point, what we're doing is we're trying to organize ourselves, and in the process, we're facing problems. And whenever we face a problem, we get to like do research and see if there are tools to solve that problem for us. But if there is no problem, I think the research would be like all over the place. We wouldn't know what we are looking for. So it might be like slightly more confusing if we eliminate the problem.
Like finding, so the problem, even just having the problem is an important part to share, or yeah.
To start the research, like that'd be the beginning, like point of starting the research.
I think that's a great insight, because we kind of have been doing that without like formalizing that. Like we had issues with onboarding, and we were like, onboarding, let's go, let's research that, let's take a look at that. And then we're kind of at the beginnings of other problems that we could identify. Maybe we could just identify those problems and then go out and research, and that would be a very good way to do it. And that's pretty much like, maybe, yeah, that's a great idea.
So what is the problem with onboarding? I mean, if we can just sort of like workshop that for a split second, like, I mean, it seems maybe it's obvious that the people come, find out about or don't find out about Littlefish, and then when they do, they just sort of, they don't get onboarded correctly, or they just sort of bounce out, or they're kind of like it's quiet and they don't get the feel of like what it's about, like, yeah.
So
and then, yeah.
Yeah, you could like be more specific. Say when you're doing like an Ikigai session, you didn't have a timer, so people were doing things at a different pace, or you couldn't organize, you couldn't have a conversation. So what are the tools to solve each of these different problems?
Gotcha. Excellent. Yeah, that's an example of a problem in our onboarding process. It's like, oh yeah, like timing the meetings, and then you realize it's like, oh yeah, like how people time stuff. Like right now, I do it with very, very old school technology. Yeah. Okay.
With onboarding, it's at a high level. I think at a high level, what the problem is once a newcomer just joins your community, there is a ton of things that they need to know in order to be able to feel confident that they can contribute. And you want to lower that barrier so that it's easy to contribute once you find the community that you really fall in love with, that you really want to contribute to. But you don't want to lower barriers too much so that anybody can contribute and anybody can just come in and do something helpful. Because you only want people that are values aligned, that really match your values. But you want those people to, overcome a little bit of adversity so that they feel like, okay, I'm in this now. I want to contribute to this. But at the same time, you don't want to just put a mountain of stuff that they need to do in order to just become a contributor. So there's this sweet spot that you got to find out. And that's how I frame it in my mind. That's how I try to take a look at it with the onboarding. And that's hopefully what we'll try to create with Ikigai, and then make that super simple for everybody else to do it. Yeah, Lucas.
So I was just thinking, so just following up on what Donald was showing with the app, maybe we could think of doing like a user journey type of checklist. It should be maybe simple to implement, where the Littlefish, when is being onboarded, can tick, and we can all, if we put it in the app, it would be more auditable in terms of helping to onboard and analyze who is falling behind or something. So the actions would be something like, do I have a wallet ready? Have I done my Ikigai on a board such and such? And all those little actions, like the user journey of onboarding someone. And that way, maybe we could focus and centralize that in our database. It's just a thought.
It's
Also
a great.
coming.
I think
Yeah.
we can do it. Yeah.
And also now, obviously, I'm just putting in 2 items, which is I have a wallet and I have done the Ikigai. But in terms of I've created my first action or I've responded to an action, those little,
Right.
it's like most of the applications nowadays have on the side of the onboarding process. I've done 5 initial things here. So now I'm proficient in this. Okay. Also, I'm not sure if this is this is related to what you're looking for, but I had dropped in Discord, Clarity community. They have this tool they're building, and obviously now there's a little overlap of what that tool does and what we are building in this app. But is this the type of apps that we want to take a look at?
That is exactly what we want to take a
Do
look
some
at.
reverse engineering as well.
Well,
Yeah.
how I look at it is usually what Clarity is doing, what Ada are doing, are things that we can just integrate onto our platform, that we can just use. Because we're doing something very different from what they're doing. Ada is doing like multi-sigs. That's awesome. We would really benefit from multi-sigs. That's great. Clarity is doing like DAO creation and proposals. We may use that at some point.
Yeah, they're
That's
doing
helpful to
treasury
us.
management and everything, right?
Yeah, that's very useful. Yeah, we can use all of that. But usually I find it like there's little overlap between what we're doing specifically with actions and what I see everybody else doing. But maybe there is some there's a lot of overlap between other tools.
Yeah, we're more operational in terms of getting the actions out there. And I'm also a bit concerned in terms of structuring actions. So because we have a basket of things, we spoke about collections, but if we're talking about a project and a project manager has broken down a project in such and such milestones and then actions in there, and we basically we're inventing a project management, I would be going down that way,
So,
with
you know what would be good there? Composable NFTs.
Oh
Yeah.
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 We are talking about composable NFTs with Chakan, and I think it will be the main part of Littlefish, as all the NFTs and actions will be bound to the colonies which create the actions. So, but we don't have any information about composable NFTs on Cardano. Do you have any information?
There aren't any. There aren't any. Precisely with Lucas, and last Wednesday we sort of stumbled into our organic conversation about composable NFTs in the after town hall room, and we decided with a bunch of other projects that we should propose that in Fontaine, a collaborative effort of several projects on composable NFTs delivered on Cardano. So this Wednesday, we will continue with that idea and try to workshop a little bit more and present that on Fontaine as collection of projects.
I think we'll be there on Wednesday after town hall
yeah.
there. Because
Okay.
that's exactly what we wanted to do with Littlefish. Like,
Yeah, if you need hands, we will be there.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thank you.
and Lucas, coming back to that point about like categorizing the types of actions, that kind of touches on what Jem talked about earlier on in the meeting. The call to actions. What these are just like high level. Okay, we got to get this done. This is a call to action. It could be a project. It could be like something more specific. And then below a call to action, there will be many different actions. So we could, in the technical side, make that a collection, make that a minting policy or whatever. But that is definitely something on our minds, to have a little subcategories of actions going on.
Okay, great.
I wonder
Awesome.
if in the metadata you could link to another action or more, then you could start to create trees of actions and let that organically kind of move if you're doing something related to this other meta action.
But the metadata doesn't interact with the information on the ledger, right? It's just like referential. So there is no way to compose NFTs only with the metadata.
I think
You
we
can
can
do-
just link, and that'll be enough for now.
If you can link to the parent, then at least you have one way of a tree.
I think we can write a validator that just makes sure like you are the owner or the producer of the previous action, and then you can link it. That's it. And that allows us to do magical things on the UI. It will do the job for now. But I love the idea of linking actions like that. That allows us to do like networks. That allows us to do graphs. That sounds really fun. It also kind of allows you to do things like tweet storms instead of action storms. So like I'm working on this project. Oh, this is the last time I worked on this project. Oh, this is the next time. This is the next time. And you build out over 40 actions. And then maybe after that, you turn it into a composable NFT. That would be like something insane. I don't know if it works like that, but maybe, yeah.
But the concept stays the same, you know, that these things that we do are in aggregate, you know, like you can always break them up into a smaller piece. And that's basically how we solve problems. We break them into little, like, 2 solvable pieces. And then, so yeah, the compostable NFT or that framework or mindset, I think is important. Because it's just, you see that pattern everywhere, you know, the drill down, the outline, you know, for sure.
Yeah, and the best part is that in a composable NFT, you don't just add NFTs, you can also add fungible tokens. So maybe reward associated with like the specific action can be a part of the NFT itself. So
Interesting, yeah. Checking out Sebastian's link here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have so far. And we have to build from there, I suppose. The only thing is composable NFTs are only examples are in EVM chains, right? So using UTXOs is going to be challenging, but that's the important part, right?
That'll be so useful to so many projects. Like immediately we have like 10 use cases with Littlefish for composable NFTs. That'll be awesome.
So by composable NFTs, you mean you're creating the standards for it? Or like at this point in time, I thought you could actually add like fungible or non-fungible tokens to an NFT on Cardano. No, is that not the case?
I would say composable means that the NFTs can be united to create a greater whole. For example, in a crafting game, you will have an NFT that is the pommel, the blade, and the handle of the sword. And depending how you combine these things, the blade, the sword, the final sword could have different properties, right? It could be, I don't know, fire-based damage, something like that. But in order to do that, the NFTs have to understand that they are supposed to go together, right? And they have to go together on chain. And that is where you have to tweak a little bit how NFTs behave.
Got it.
But yeah. I like it.
All right. Any other thoughts on any of these topics, or we could just conclude here? 1.5 hours going. All right, let's say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. See you
Thank you.
later.
Bye-bye.